Okay, so today we're tackling the absolute diplomatic whiplash between the United States and Iran. I mean, one minute you hear whispers of a peace deal, and the next, the drumbeat of war gets louder and louder. So, how do we get here? And really, where could this possibly be heading? Let's untangle this whole thing.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the dizzying back and forth that's going on. Then we'll try to decode the mixed signals and the secret back channels. We'll get into whether a real negotiation is even possible at this point. After that, we'll explore three very different ways this could all play out. And finally, we'll have to grapple with a pretty stark reality. No matter what happens from here, the Middle East has already been changed forever.
All right, let's just dive right into the chaos. Calling this a high-stakes standoff is honestly an understatement. It has been a total diplomatic roller coaster, where it feels like the whole world is holding its breath as hopes for peace pop up one day, only to be completely crushed the next.
And all this chaos really boils down to one simple, terrifying question. Are we watching the first fragile steps toward peace, or are we staring right into the abyss of a major all-out war? As you're about to see, the answer is dangerously unclear. One source literally called it a roller coaster week. And, that might be putting it mildly. You've got President Trump talking about a peace deal, and then almost in the same breath, he's threatening massive military escalation. This isn't just confusing, it's creating this dangerous fog of uncertainty that's spreading across the globe. And what's really creating this fog is this constant stream of mixed signals. Behind the scenes, you've got these secret channels buzzing with activity, but the messages coming out are so contradictory, it's making it nearly impossible for anyone to figure out a clear path to actually de-escalate. And here's the core contradiction in the U.S. strategy, right here. On one hand, you have officials saying that talks are progressing well, but at the exact same moment, thousands of American troops are being deployed to the Persian Gulf. So which one is it? Are we talking, or are we preparing to fight? That's the question that has the entire world on edge.
Now, into this mess, other nations are trying to step in and, build some kind of bridge. Pakistan has really emerged as a key go-between. Their prime minister has even offered to host talks. And they're not alone. They're coordinating with other big regional players like Turkey and Egypt, trying to form this quiet diplomatic front to pull everyone back from the brink.
But here's the thing, Iran isn't buying it. Not at all. Their parliamentary speaker, Mohammad Bagar Ghalibabov, said it pretty bluntly. He thinks all this optimism about talks is being used to manipulate the financial and oil markets. So from Iran's perspective, this isn't about peace. It's just a smokescreen. The trust just is not there. And that deep distrust is exactly why a real deal feels so impossible right now. To really get how far apart these two sides are, you have to look at what they're actually demanding. It's like they're living in completely different realities. So the U.S. made the first move. They put together a 15-point peace plan and sent it over to Tehran, using Pakistan as the messenger. On paper, this was supposed to be the start of a real negotiation. But it landed with a thud, a huge thud. In Tehran, this wasn't seen as a proposal for peace talks. It was described as, and I'm quoting here, a list of demands that seeks Iran's surrender. So it felt less like an olive branch and a lot more like an ultimatum. So yeah, Tehran pretty much rejected the U.S. proposal out of hand. But they didn't just walk away from the table. Nope, they came right back with their own 5-point counterplan, spelling out exactly what they see as their non-negotiable terms to end this thing. And Iran's demands are just huge. They want guarantees that a war won't happen again. They want an end to the fighting everywhere, on all fronts, a stop to all aggression and assassinations. They want sovereignty over the super-strategic Strait of Hormuz. Oh, and they want war reparations. Look, these are not the starting points for a negotiation. These are the demands of a country that believes it's winning. So, with both sides so dug in on these, frankly, impossible positions, you have to ask, where on earth do we go from here? The situation is at a major fork in the road, with 3 very different and very consequential paths forward. So what are those 3 paths? Well, path 1 is a swift, decisive military blow. Path 2 is a long, grinding, painful forever war. And path 3, the most difficult of them all, is a comprehensive diplomatic agreement. Let's take a look at each one. Okay, scenario 1, the military option. A big, decisive strike aimed at collapsing the Iranian regime. But as we've learned the hard way in places like Afghanistan and Iraq, this path almost never leads to stability.
It's far more likely to just create a massive power vacuum, leading to years of chaos. Which is probably why most analysts think this is highly unlikely to actually happen.
Scenario 2 is, well, maybe even grimmer. It's the forever war. In this future, no deal gets made. The fighting just stops and starts, sputtering along for years, creating constant turmoil in the global oil market, probably pushing the world into a recession and even threatening global food supplies. It's just a nightmare of endless instability.
And if you think that sounds like an exaggeration, listen to this. The International Energy Agency says that right now, today, we are already living through the largest supply disruption in the history of the global oil market. A long-term conflict would make today look like a walk in the park. The global economic stakes are almost unimaginable. And that leaves us with path number 3, a comprehensive peace deal. This is obviously the best-case scenario, the best hope for any kind of stability. But it's also the steepest, most difficult climb. It would mean real give and take. Iran would have to make some big nuclear concessions, and in return, the U.S. would have to offer real, ironclad security guarantees. But even if they could manage that, you've got potential spoilers, like Israel, who could try to unravel the whole thing. So, whether the future holds a swift, violent war, a long, miserable slog, or a fragile, hard-won peace, it all brings us to one unavoidable conclusion. No matter which path gets chosen, there is no going back to the way things were. The Middle East has already been changed, forever.
As one analysis puts it so perfectly, there can be no return to the status quo ante. The Middle East will never be the same again. The old order, the old rules, they're gone. A new, much more uncertain strategic map is being drawn right now, in real time. This is a historic, irreversible shift.
And that really is the question that's hanging over everything, isn't it? We are standing at a historic fork in the road, looking at 3 possible futures: violent collapse, a grinding forever conflict, or a fragile peace. The old world is gone. The big question is, what comes next?